I've been very critical, not really critical. I just don't buy all the hype with Brock Purdy. I think he's a B-plus quarterback. I feel that with Kirk Cousins. I feel that with Dak. And I think you have to be very careful about paying a B-plus quarterback A-plus money. And Brock Purdy got a good contract. It wasn't outrageous. For him, it was a very good contract. But I got to tell you, yesterday, yes, he had 2 picks. Yes, he got a huge break that Sam Darnold fumbled, bumped into his own player. That's the most impressed I've ever been with Brock Purdy. That game. Seattle's loud. George Kittle misses most of the game. You're down several wide receivers. Your offensive line is mediocre. Jawan Jennings is hurt. Trent Williams is hurt. Right guard is hurt. You've heard of the blue man group? The Niners are the blue tent group. They can't keep anybody healthy. Special teams. Jake Moody. Close your eyes, cross your fingers. That let the Niners down. And Purdy on the road against, let's be honest here, that defense for Seattle is fast. That is a well-coached, well-constructed, well-drafted, very good Seahawks defense. It is, sometimes you got to trust your eyes. They are flying around the field. And he goes 6 for 6 on the final drive. Loudest stadium in the league. They were 9-1 before yesterday in those openers. He has a great poise, made huge throws. And you know why I'm impressed? Because he had 2 picks. I mean, only scored 17 points. Why would I be so impressed? Because the difference between the haves and have-nots in this league is when you don't have your star receiver, when you're down your star tight end, when you're going to be Hall of Fame left tackle goes to the 10th, when your right guard is out, that and you're on the road, that's the difference. Every quarterback looks good with excellent protection. I've said quarterback is like parenting. Everybody is a great parent when your kids are eating their vegetables and getting A's. It's really easy.
You know what's really funny? I just kind of had this aha moment. I wasn't actually really impressed with Brock Purdy in this game because I actually expect more from him. You are impressed with a game like this because you don't think he's that great. You understand what I'm saying? So I watched this game and it wasn't a bad game by no means. The 2 picks were just bad decisions and bad throws, and I expect better from him in that moment. And I try to be as consistent as possible. And yeah, it is impressive in a vacuum that he was able to do this with KD down and Don Jennings and you know all the things that Colin brought up with all the injuries, but I expect him to be able to do that. Like I because I actually believe in Brock, that's why it was funny that Colin was like, oh, Brock Purdy, I haven't been that critical of him. It's like, yes, you have. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yes, you have. Yes, you absolutely have. And I disagree. Not every quarterback looks great when you have the pieces around you, because I'd say that when you have the pieces around you, someone like a Brock Purdy plays like near flawlessly. And that's not an easy thing to do. Everyone just thinks that just because, you know, in their prime they have like Debo and KD and Hughes and Christian McCaffrey, that it's so easy to you just dump off here, dump off there, little this, little that. It's like, no, man, you got to distribute flawlessly. You got to make perfect perfect decisions. You got to run Shanahan's offense flawlessly. You have to execute at the highest level, something that Brock Purdy has repeatedly done. And yes, it's obviously impressive to win when you don't have a perfect situation, right? And it's funny because that game-winning throw, that catch in the end zone, at first I was thinking to myself, if another quarterback did that, people would absolutely lose their mind. And it is funny because it is one of those 50-50, not a 50-50 ball in the traditional sense, but a 50-50 as in like, man, that could have gone wrong. That could have not worked out, right? Like it was a weird defensive play, and but it's just like honestly, it was kind of reminiscent of a Mahomes moment where it was just like, man, Mahomes made that throw. I don't know if it was the best throw, but it worked out. So everyone is just now going to say, look how amazing that was. Like the throw to I think it was Xavier Worthy against the Buffalo Bills last year in the AFC Championship. It was like, yeah, it worked out. I'm not quite sure that was a good decision, right? And so it's like I have no reason. I feel no obligation to have to just be like, that's right. That's who Brock Purdy is. You know, because like I haven't been hypercritical of Brock Purdy. And that defense was great, and for both teams, honestly, actually, if anything, that is more of the takeaway. Not like, hey, look what Brock ped, because the defense actually helped him out. Moody tried to lose the game for them, but the defense was actually able to hold the points and come up with a big play down the stretch. Like, that's the difference. Brock Purdy did this last season. Like, this is what I'm trying to emphasize here. But the defense and special teams let him down again and again and again. And this was my whole argument, and I really apologize for having to evoke Patrick Mahomes. But that's why I made those videos where I was like, look at the defenses, look at what Brock Purdy is doing, and look at what the Chiefs are doing. And you can see the difference that both quarterbacks, Mahomes and Perry, are actually kind of having similar seasons. The difference is that the defense and special teams is stepping up for the Chiefs. So they keep winning every game, and the 49ers keep losing. And yet we're praising someone like a Patrick Mahomes for, hey, he's winning, he's getting it done. And yet you're just criticizing and ridiculing a Brock Purdy, saying he doesn't deserve to get paid. See, this is proof. And it's like, no, you need all of these little things. Because, right, if Sam Darnold throws a touchdown pass, which it looked like he was ready to do, and they win that game, it would have been the same story last year. And then it would have been harder for someone like a Colin Cowherd to say, I was really impressed with that performance by Brock Purdy. He's done that all throughout last year, but they just lost. So that's why I'm not like as impressed, because it's not new to me. This isn't novel to me. We've seen him come up big and put the team on his back. Even when Christian McCaffrey is at peak powers, KD's at peak powers, Debo's at peak. We've seen it. We've seen it in the playoffs. We've seen it. So it's like, did Brock Purdy prove he can carry this team? He's already proven it. But I always argue it doesn't matter, because Josh Allen absolutely bought out and carried his team. And I've made multiple videos about that already now. And that's great. And you know what? To build the legend, the myth, the just, oh my God, that is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my entire life, right? To build that narrative, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. Awesome. To be like, oh, he's better than Patrick MS, he's better than Tom Brady, he's better than Lamar. Like, to get in all those fights, those moments matter significantly. To win Super Bowls, not so much. And that's why I always say, what lens are you looking at it through? Through the fan, through a quarterback fan's lens, or a team lens, because it's sometimes they're opposed to one another. So it's like, it's nice to be able to say that your quarterback can carry a team. But if you're looking at it through a 49ers fan lens, you're like, well, I want to build a team that my quarterback doesn't have to carry, right? And then at the end of the day, I want to see my quarterback be elite when he's got great talent around him. That's what you want to see, because that's more or less what it's going to take to actually win the Super Bowl. But for the Brock Purdy fans who kept saying, hey, Purdy's good, Purdy's good, Purdy's great, Purdy's great, this is definitely now just another win column in their section to be like, yeah, see, this is what this guy can do. And I know they'll be like, oh, the interceptions. And it's like, well, we've seen lots of quarterbacks play great win games and still throw interceptions. But again, I hold quarterbacks to a standard. So I'm not going to just be like, oh, like my conclusion that game was Brock Brady played really, really well, except for two really bad decisions. And they were just B. He didn't get fooled. He didn't just like, miss something. Like it was a throw that he thought that he could make that he just did not make. And even if he made a perfect throw, it still wasn't going to work out well for him. That's why I wrote down in my notes, it was a bad decision and a bad throw. Sometimes it's just a bad decision. Sometimes it's just a bad throw. Sometimes it's just unfortunate. Sometimes it's just a great play. Sometimes you just get fooled. And what are you going to do? But for me, it was just, I took those with the Seahawks notes. I just wrote down, 2 interceptions Both bad throws and bad decisions, not fooled. Yeah, I mean the 50 Erard pass to Pierall leading into the 2-minute warning down 3, then the 3rd and 3 touchdown. I mean the throw, the scramble. Yeah, man. And I mean Brock Purdy was doing. I'm more concerned they were 2 for 5 in the red zone. They're kind of continuing their red zone slump from last season, but again, first game. I think it's a little bit easier to pick apart games on Thursday and Friday because they're standalone games and you don't get to see everyone else play. And now that we've seen all the teams play, essentially, it really puts things in context, and you can see the various qualities of teams that people are going up against, the defenses, the offenses, et cetera, and it makes you, I think, a lot more forgiving that you kind of have to get reacquainted as a quarterback with your touch, with your receivers, with the decisions you have to make, the speed, just the speed of the defense. Like, it's just everyone has to kind of get reacquainted. I think Tom Brady talked about this a little bit in the Commanders-Giants game, where he was just talking about, like, these first couple of weeks, like, you're just so out of sync and out of rhythm with your receivers that, like, the passing game is really the last thing to kind of sync and come on board, in the first couple of weeks. And again, that's Tom Brady. So if you want to argue with Tom, that's be my guess. And I think that obviously makes a lot of sense because of the timing and the communication that you're going to need on offense within the passing game, and the fact that he was able to throw for 277 2 touchdowns against what I think is a great defense with mix and match weapons offensively, and injuries, which I don't think Shanahan has done the best job dealing with injuries throughout a season or even throughout a game. So to see Brock Purdy do that is pretty great. But to me, the bigger takeaway probably is that Saleh's got that defense, like just how much a change of a coach can make, that defense played with a purpose. They played with a purpose. They played with belief. They played like where if you had Robert Saleh in 23, you're probably a Super Bowl winner, probably a Super Bowl winner. Brock Purdy's a Super Bowl MVP. So it's amazing what a coach can do. So credit to the 49ers for making it happen. Apparently, Saleh was really kind of on the fence, and, they apparently really made it happen. So to me, that's actually the biggest takeaway. I don't need another takeaway from Brock Purdy. You needed to see other things. The biggest takeaway was like, yep, they got someone to take care of the other side of the ball. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Are you stunned? Are you shocked? Are you blown away? Are you impressed with Brock Purdy right now? Do you believe that he proved that he can carry this team? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun, and please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next.